Alright, I'm going to begin my presentation on artificial body parts. I chose my presentation over the pacemaker, basically a device used to help the heart and its functions. So a pacemaker is an artificial device that stimulates the heart when the heart is weak. Most pacemakers are inserted into body parts with a weak heart that is older, like elderly people, but also some childs are born with a weak heart, and they're used to pump blood throughout their entire body. A person with a heart that is not strong enough to the skills a normal heart is able to do, a doctor would recommend them to get a pacemaker. So this is what the pacemaker is. I just need to reiterate, a pacemaker is not a heart transplant. A pacemaker and heart are two different things. As you can see in this image, here's the heart and here's the pacemaker. So if you need a new heart, I would recommend obviously a heart transplant, but if your heart is there and able to function, it's just weaker, the pacemaker is something that helps control abnormal heart rhythms. It is located in the chest or abdomen area, and it just makes sure that it beats constantly and it helps the heart in that way. I'd like to reiterate, it is not the heart. Here's the image, and it just makes sure that the heart does all the functions and is able to just do what the heart normally does and just help it out and keep the body functioning. Signs you need a pacemaker. In your daily life, if your heart is beating very, very slow or uncontrollably fast, then those are signs that you need a pacemaker. If there's not enough blood flowing through your body, that could be signs that your heart is not strong enough to reach those areas in your feet or in your fingertips, and honestly your brain too. So your pacemaker will push the blood and help it go through those parts of your body on schedule. Without a pacemaker, if you have a weak heart, it has the ability to do that, but it will not be on schedule. A pacemaker will help it go on schedule. If your heart's electrical system controls chambers pumping action, that's a sign that you need a pacemaker. Just like looking at your right atrium and not going through the way your heart is formed and not how it's made, then those are signs you need a pacemaker. Basically, an aging heart is likely, with every body part, whether it's your brain, whether it's your heart, with age, as you get older, it gets weaker, it gets more tired, it gets more fatigued. And with that, more elderly people do acquire pacemakers and need that device. Just based off of the research that I've previously made for this presentation, most people to acquire pacemakers are elderly people. Risks. Though pacemakers are good and are intended to help your body, there are some risks that are made when inserting a pacemaker in. The first risk is infection. Pacemaker, you need to have surgery to do, so when you cut open through the flesh and put that pacemaker in, the pacemaker was humanly made, and so there's different bacteria that may still be on the device. Even though it was cleaned and it is perfected, even the best sanitary items that are formed and put in our body has the ability to start an infection. Another risk is allergic reaction. And for example, let's say you are allergic to the steel or the type of metal that is inserted in your body, and your body doesn't really know how to react. An allergic reaction isn't always something that you know of. It could be something that maybe shouldn't be in your body, or it shouldn't go through your body, whether it's digestive system or just like to help your heart in general. It could be an allergic reaction. Also, swelling, bruising, and just redness in that area. It's very common to happen after the surgery has happened. In fact, it's going to happen, majority of the time, but obviously some cases are worse than others. But that's just another risk that a patient is going to have to deal with and get medicated for, because if you think about it, it's first your body for X amount of years have gone without this device in your body, and now that unique device is, and your body might react differently to it. So yes, there might be swelling, yes, there might be bruising, yes, there might be some redness or even allergic reaction, as I mentioned before. But those are small risks that are intended for the better cause. So yes, there are some risks, but in order to keep living in a more prosperous life, then those risks will have to be made. Special precautions. Once a pacemaker is inserted, your life will never be the same. Yes, you'll be living. Yes, your heart will be helped very much. However, because it's an electronic device, you cannot do things like you would before. For example, let's just say, in this scenario, I have a pacemaker right here in my chest and abdomen area. And if I were to get a phone call, I will not be able to reach the phone call near the area because of that electronic communication. It could interrupt the pacemaker, and it could interrupt just the heartbeat of it helping. It has to be a certain amount of distance away. So cell phones is a big thing because normal people talk on the phone like this, and your ear and where the pacemaker is too close. So doctors recommend you get a special phone with special speaker phones, or even like a phone with a TV that they have. But doctors do not allow patients to talk on the phone like this or like this when a pacemaker is inserted. Security systems. At this day and age, unfortunately, we have to go through security at the airport, at concerts, even baseball games or football games. And those, mass searching machines or metal detecting is terrible for the pacemaker. So, unfortunately, doctors recommend if you do have a pacemaker, you are not allowed to go through those security systems. In fact, there is a piece of paper that they must give to security people at the airport, specifically so they can search you in a different way, because yes, the metal detectors and that it gets them through really fast, but however, those with pacemakers, it is not healthy at all to go through those systems because, like I said before, pacemaker is an electronic device, and it will be interrupted if you go through those machines. And if it is, then it'll get interrupted and it'll mess up your heart and it won't be able to function correctly. Medical equipment. Certain surgeries you may need in the future about different things that may be inserted in your body, whether you break an arm or you need surgery on your ribs or whatever, but nothing artificial that is metal can be inserted because it'll irritate the magnetic rotation, and it won't be able to function properly anymore. And also power generating equipment, and those are just things like welding and just like those chainsaws that are really loud, and one, they're just dangerous in general, but two, it can also interrupt the electricity of the pacemaker, and it will unfortunately cause harm to the pacemaker, which will cause harm to your heart, which will cause harm to your body. And that's kind of like a cause effect scenario, but that's just how the pacemaker is, and that's how it functions, and that's how it works based off of the research that I've done. So overall, I know there's lots of debate about whether artificial intelligence or artificial body parts help or harm our society, and yes, I have certain opinions. However, I think pacemakers are beneficial in today's society. Debates all around the world: is artificial intelligence taking over the world? Are we getting too smart? Are we creating stuff that's going to overtake us? I'm going to leave my stance or my opinion out of that issue. However, I am going to say pacemakers help people. More specifically, pacemakers help hearts, hearts help your body, and body helps the person. Therefore, they can live a longer and more healthier life and spend more time with their loved ones, and it's just a good thing overall. And yes, there are some cases about, as I mentioned before, about the risks that cause harm, but however, the numbers do add up. Pacemakers are good for humans, even though it is technology, because I think it's intended for pacemakers to help society, and I'm a firm believer of that. Mayo Clinic, a lot of my research was done through them. I have put the link here, and I will submit my presentation on D2L, so if you want to look at that, you can click on this link to see all my sources. But yeah, just mainly Mayo Clinic was the reference I used, and just everything I got about the pacemaker and its functions and risks, and there's a ton of stuff on that website that was really beneficial to me and to this presentation. That is the conclusion of my presentation, and thank you for watching.